ExplanationPoint. Signing autographs out back, one per person, please form an orderly line.
But hey, people want my opinions on things. I want to give my opinions on things, so let's give a lot of opinions at once.
Great green light gets everyone on Earth stoned. Do you get it? Do you get my joke about being stoned? Because they are turned to stone and being stoned. 3,700 years pass, and now it's up to buff dude and turnip-haired Jimmy Neutron to revive humanity from its marijuana-induced slumber. Do you get it? Because they were stoned.
Is the fact that Madoka shows us the descent from smiley normal high school girls to frowny magic high school girls.
The world presented in Attack on Titan is one in which Frank Reynolds can dress up as an art critic, get stretched out on a torture rack, and snack your mom in half with no real warning or reason, which is fairly distressing.
I found myself really enjoying this one, but that's because I have shit taste and am trash. Now she's tied up in a magical murder plot and has to either fight or team up with 3 aliens from Ben 10, one of whom is now a pimp, to bring the perps to justice.
Gary goes down to the railroad track, looking all sad cause she's dressed in black. Takes 1 step forward, then 2 steps back, cause she can't bring herself to get hit by a train. It sits on the ground and everyone around seems tired of this little emo hussy feeling down. So they all walk away while she sits there and frowns and says, "Every day, all I can think about is dying."
Congratulations, young male! You have been selected to be sucked into a video game world and live out all of your young male harem adventure fantasies with your mom. Your mom is there. You are in the video game world with your mom, and she is better at it than you.
Mental degradation and the effects of traumatic experience come thematically pre-packaged in every war story, especially when you add in giant man-eating troll dolls, so—
Well, wrap me in sausage and call me hog feed. Somehow the world has sunk to a point where we've had 2 seasons in a row with a lesbian pedophile show.
Do you see now what makes Audible the internet's go-to source for sound-based storytelling?
I can't see a thing.
Future Girl goes to Future City and gets future lost. I mean, look at this. Look at this generic-ass key art. It's made of weaponized Alzheimer's.
Number 15. Hensuki, are you willing to fall in love with a pervert as long as she's a cutie? Question for the heckin' ages.
The biggest problem with this show is that the writers display a huge lack of understanding about the psychology of both cats and roommates, neither of which would give a damn if you lived or died. There is no cat on the planet that would willingly share its food with a person. In fact, if a person fell unconscious in front of a cat, the cat would eat them.
Shy boy, rude boy, charming boy, happy boy, and logic boy. By your powers combined, we have a harem anime! It's a harem anime, now featuring Forgetful Boy and Ambitious Boy. It's a harem anime. Are you a lonely female in her mid-teens to early 20s who wants to fantasize about being romanced by a bevy of musical boys? Perfect, it's a harem anime. Are you a die-hard fujoshi who gets her kicks off of writing fanfiction that takes the slightest hint of homoerotic subtext and shoots it to the god-dang moon? Heckin' wonderful, it's a harem anime. When imagining the perfect cast of characters, does it include a stretched-out eggplant with a burnt sea urchin where his hair should be and a cocaine-fueled humanoid smile that looks like it swallowed the sun? Well, sit your ass right down, cause this is a harem anime. It's a harem anime. If you like those, then this is one. If you don't like those, then it's still one. Skip.
I wanted to have some fun, turn off my inner academic, and enjoy the simple pleasure of watching teenagers punch the hell out of each other.
When she specifically tells him, "My good deeds are transactional," and Puck says, "Yeah, her good deeds are transactional. I would know." Subaru thinks, oh, she must secretly be a good person.
This makes them incredibly important. Sure is a shame they have the collective IQ of a coffee table, and it's this mutual mistake that leads to Bakugo being about as pleasant as a Tabasco enema.
One of my favorite kinds of media analysis to do is making comparisons between characters, and if Subaru Natsuki is good for anything, it is making other men look good. Look at this guy, pathetic. So aimless and misguided that his moral compass points west. So blind to his own faults that he writes his diary in Braille. A list of acquaintances with so many foil characters on it, it explodes in your microwave.
Have you ever sat through the masturbation scene in Evangelion and wished you could feel that uncomfortable for 4 hours? Well, have I got the anime for you. But I can't, cause I'm a red whistle, which is the lowest rank of whistles at Orphan Whistle Cave Explorer High School. So I've gotta work really hard to get lots of fancy relics so I can become a white whistle, the highest rank of whistle, just like my dead mom. Plucky underdog teenage protagonist with a hard-on for justice who's saddled with an unexpected OP superpower that he uses to follow his dreams and fight for his friends. Check. Unnecessarily hostile rival figure with a god complex whose pride, hot-headedness, and budding narcissistic personality disorder would make him a frontrunner for president of the United States. Check. Muscle Jesus? Check. And as the fireworks flash over the sex hotel, 7 words that I am certain have never been used before in quite that order, SAO Abridged cuts out so much unnecessary bullshit that you could make a whole new bull out of the shit, and this metaphor isn't going quite the way I wanted to, but the point is that the Aincrad arc in SAO proper is 6 hours long.
So? Shio-chan no kame toi takeru.
This is the second time that I'm re-uploading this video. Because I left some copyrighted content in it last time. You fucking idiot. But even though they made no claim against it, I guess they suddenly care. Anyway, the point is...
Go to any other AnyTuber's comment section and you will see it. A veritable army of butthurt entitled otaku slamming their oversized Cheeto-dusted fingers against the keyboard to berate their favorite creators for having the audacity to make money off their creative content. You're not a real YouTuber, they shout, sloshing the scant remains of an overturned can of Mountain Dew gamer fuel across their scantily clad anime girl mousepad. A true YouTuber makes videos for the love of the craft, not for money. The world is overrun by shills and sellouts like you who make petty vids. You should all be purged, you false YouTuber. I'll make this right. These streets must run with the blood of hypocrites. YouTuber. I will reclaim that word. Come on, just try and stop me, you fakes. There's only one man I'll let kill me. He is a true YouTuber. Digibro is worth...
Oh, hi Stain. What was I saying?
Protagonist McEverygirl wakes up one morning to discover that she's actually the descendant to a clan of demons and is now tasked with killing a magical girl and smearing her blood on the demonic penis rocket between her breasts so her mom can get her rent reduced.
You know that feel when you hype up an anime all season and then it premieres and you want to kill yourself because it let you down and now there's no point in anything ever again?
Too bad it's a harem anime. It's a harem anime. If you like those, then this is one. If you don't like those, it's still one. Don't watch this.
What do you get when you cross a screen-printed body pillow and the budding potential of a new artistic medium? If you said the fresh hell of virtual reality anime, then you are unfortunately correct.
Nobody in real life has to worry about turning into a homicidal 2.5-dimensional paper cutout of a Victorian orchestra conductor because their newly uncrippled love interest falls for the green-haired third wheel since they were too self-conscious about being a zombie to nab the dick that they traded their soul for.
Then for more months after the move and subsequent hard drive crashes ate up so much of my savings that I would have been VRing in a box on the street if I got one. Until I finally got one, only to be met with this. Which I think is the closest to hell I've been since leaving Fresno.
Pop quiz. For the past year, a high school student has been molesting an 8-year-old that they found. In a just world, how should this end? A. Police intervention. B. Double suicide. C. A fairy tale ending wherein the high school student and their newly acquired love golem can get it on in peace, happily ever after. Or D. The Treaty of Tripoli, 1797.
So now that you have your cards, you're gonna need friends. This is the hardest step. Tell me how boring it is watching people play RPGs after you've vicariously experienced Dan and Aaron's perfect friendship. The kind of friendship that you know is absent from your own life because you never developed social skills in high school, and now you don't know how to talk to people because you're a shut-in NEET who spends every day writing YouTube videos about shitty anime while drinking raw Baileys at noon in your apartment in Belgium. By now, it's no secret that Sword Art Online is terrible. It is so terrible that the fact that it's terrible is a meme is a meme. And that's a real shame because Hunger Games Online with sword lasers is probably the best idea to come out of Japan since ritually cannibalizing their enemies is an intimidation tactic during World War II. Look it up. This guy tells his friend to stop bothering Tomoko, cause she's a quiet girl who doesn't want any guys to talk to her. Anxiety. And Tomoko thinks that's just absurd, but she can't bring herself to say a goddamn word, so she points to the rain and says it's raining. And that's the end of the scene. Magical Girl Sight is the latest in a long line of new wave Magical Girl shows designed to show the world that hope is futile and that everything happy will someday die. Unfortunately, my bountiful and unironic affection for the series isn't enough to save it from its overflowing chamber pot of narrative flaws, so I'm gonna have to put my affection aside, strap the thing to the surgery table, and take it apart bit by bit until I can figure out why it's not ticking.
Generic D&D adventurer finds a small girl in the woods and decides to use her in a vain attempt to inject some purpose into the terrifying void of his fast-approaching early 20s.
That's right, disgusting purple infant. Even you can join the likes of Pants Man and the Flaming Mustache in fending off the forces of evil.
During Taco Bell's death scene, he buys into Kurt's persona completely.
The viewer that no, stealing children is not fine, even if it's arguably less bad than literally raping people.
Now, being pulled through the ether to join a wizard war is really disorienting for your everyday badger, so you're gonna have to give them a little bit of time to adjust before you can order them around. Hopefully Attack on Titan wasn't anybody's first experience with character death, because that would have some severe psychological consequences, but
If you're like me, and dear God, I hope you aren't, then your sense of pride and accomplishment and love for the creative projects that you undertake ran off to the rabbit farm back in 5th grade, and now all you have to fill that void is vicious laughter at the hard-wrought works of better people who pour everything they have into making something wonderful for the world to enjoy, only to fall flat on their faces and create a horrid mockery of the beautiful piece of art that shone so brightly in their imaginations, now wrought twisted and disgusting by the inexpert hands of its devoted craftsmen like a tragic experiment in artistic human transmutation. Ha ha, The Room.
Sachi is Kurt's way of giving humanity a chance to prove its worth. He lets himself be vulnerable to one person, one time, and that vulnerability is immediately and harshly kicked in the dick. Seeing characters sucked down like hot dogs right after being assured that they were going to be important is an experience unlike anything that the average young viewer has ever seen, as a transitional series, is the way it touches on various philosophical and social issues, particularly issues of religious faith in a world that God clearly abandoned long ago.
Is that the members of a Japanese boy band got high one day and thought, you know what'd be great? Being an anime. And so they did.
Kurt isn't just an asshole. He's the asshole he's always aspired to be.
Like how it was the culmination of 20 years of work and intended to change people's lives, as though he meant for this film to be some kind of religious experience in an entirely different way than the film wound up being some kind of religious experience.
I have some pretty strong views about translation and adaptation, to the point where I wrote my 40-page honors thesis on the French dub of Frozen. Yes, that one. Madoka is famous for its brutality, to the point where even the cute merchandise featuring chibi versions of its characters is, oh no, why would you do that?
Aizawa might have all the compassion of a Republican bear trap, but he makes things pretty straightforward.
It's Full House with incest, kind of.
Then you don't have what it takes to stand with the likes of Miss Macrophilia and Captain Arbor Day.
Dimension High School is bad by every metric, but it's charming as hell. It has a 4.8 on Mal, and it deserves it, but damned if it isn't a good time.
Hills. And the hills are themselves. And the paths are their abilities. And this is a metaphor.
Put these two teenagers side by side and tell me which one you would want to watch your kid. The smiling sugar girl made of maple syrup and crayons, or the beaten up, homeless looking broken condom consolation prize.
As an analytic reader, it's not my job to reverse engineer John Green's entire psychological landscape from the words, I was drizzle and she was a hurricane. Stuff is going on, but it should be finished forthright. The SAO abridged vid is coming in a fortnight.
Number 2!
Unless you follow me, there's no way you could know, but my Patreon launched about 5 days ago. You can find it at the link in the description, or help me out in other ways like comments and subscriptions.
Twitter!
38 happy little orphans and a happy little free-range orphan farm. What could go wrong? 37 happy little orphans.
Imagine getting married to this Dollar General brand Flynn Rider knockoff because you're too self-conscious to say no to your grandma.
Wait, where are you going?
I have to get this video edited by
Tuesday.